Hello everyone, welcome back to our maths lesson. So today we'll be moving on to a new topic, which is rate of change and travel graph. But today we'll be focusing on rate of change of linear and also non-linear graph. So let's get started. So by the end of this lesson, you should be able to calculate the rate of change of linear and also non-linear graph. So these are the steps to success that you need to know for this lesson. The first one is that you have to draw the graph if necessary. Second, you have to mark two coordinates or 2 points. Next, you have to apply the formula of gradient. And lastly, calculate the rate of change or the gradient. So first, rate of change of linear graph. Okay, so what is linear graph? Linear graph, as you can see from here, it is a straight line graph. So the question is, how do we calculate the rate of change for this kind of graph? First, rate of change describes how one quantity changes in relation to another quantity, given by the gradient of the graph of y against x. So, rate of change is equal to change in y divided by change in x. So, this is also known as the gradient. So, gradient is equal to y2 minus y1, which is the change in y, and x2 minus x1, which is the change in x. Alright, so this gradient or rate of change can only give a positive or negative values. It depends on the questions and also the graph. So let's get started with example 1. In the graph, find the rate of change of y with respect to x from O to A to B, B to C, and C to D. So this is the graph that you need to refer. So let's try to do the first one first. A, which is O to A. So O, we know the coordinates is 0, 0, and points A, it is 1, 6. Alright, so since the rate of change is the gradient, we apply the formula and insert all these numbers here. So you get your answer to be equal to 6. So the rate of change is equal to 6. So basically, rate of change is the gradient. Alright, so now I want you to pause this video and try to solve these 3 questions from A to B, B to C, and C to D. Alright? Okay, so I believe you have done these 3 questions. So please check your answer here. So this is the answer. If you got it wrong, please check your working or you can also ask me. Alright? So next, let's proceed to example 2. The diagram shows the temperature in Singapore at different times on a certain day. So we have this graph, temperature against the time in hour. So the first one, find the rate of change of temperature with respect to time between 6 and 8 a.m., 12 and 3 p.m., and 3 p.m., and also 4 p.m. Okay? 6 p.m. Alright, so let's try to do this one first. We know that from 6 to 8 here, we have 2 points, point A and also point B. Point A is here and point B is here. Okay, so the coordinate is point A 6, 2, 25 and point B 8, 30. So we apply the formula of gradient, then you'll get your rate of change to be 2.5. Okay, so now let's do your part. Try to pause this video and solve these 2 questions. number 2, and also number 3. Alright, so I believe you have done these 2 questions already. So here is the working and also the answer. As you can see from number 2, the rate of change is 0. Why is that? Because it gave the graph is just a constant here. So if it's constant, just a straight line here, the gradient is always equal to 0. Alright? Okay. So, B. How can you tell from the rate of change of temperature with respect to time whether the weather is getting warmer or cooler? So if the rate of change give a positive or higher value, meaning that more than 0, it says that it is getting warmer. If the rate of change give a negative or lower value, it's getting cooler. Okay, you can also refer to the graph itself. So next, let's proceed to the rate of change of nonlinear graph. What is nonlinear graph? Nonlinear graph is the opposite of a linear graph. Since linear graph is a straight line, nonlinear graph is not a straight line. It's always a curved graph, whether it be like this or parabola or exponential and so on. So how do you find the rate of change for nonlinear graph? Given that you have this graph, find the rate of change of velocity at t is equal to 5 seconds. So we know t is equal to 5 seconds is here. So what you do? Draw a tangent. So this is a tangent. This tangent is a straight line that just touches this point here. T is equal to 5 seconds. Do not overlap this tangent with this point. Do not, just touches. Okay? So now you have to pick 2 points. In this case, I pick these 2 points. Why? Because it is intersect with this graph here. Okay? So the 2 point is 6, 6.4 and also 4.2, 2. So now you apply the rate of change or the gradient, you'll get your answer to be 2.44. So this is rate of change of velocity is equal to 2.44 meter per second. Alright? So that is the rate of change for nonlinear graph. So it says you need to first draw the tangent and then pick 2 coordinates. Alright? Okay, so now let's proceed to example 3. The table shows the mass of a beauty contestant who dieted for a beauty contest. So this is the table. Now plot the graph of mass against times and find from it, number 1, the rate of loss of mass in kilogram per day 5 days after she began dieting. The second one, the rate of loss of mass in kilogram per day 25 days after she began dieting. And lastly, was she losing mass at a greater rate after 5 days or after 25 days? For this last question, it depends on your graph itself from here, your result here. Okay? I want you to do this question, example 3, on a graph paper. Alright? So that's it for our lesson today. It's a very short lesson, so I want you to try to practice to draw the graph and plot the graph for example number 3. Okay? Thank you very much everyone, and see you next lesson.